everybody, and welcome to...
How do you say Yaros?
What up?
Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're going to turn right at the light here on Young's Road in just a moment. But we've got some exciting things we're talking about. This episode is all about something real, something powerful. And, you know, it starts with an S and ends with an
Survivor.
Survivor. So, 2 weeks ago, last week, I got to do an awesome thing, and I got to apply for Survivor. I did a casting call for them, and now this isn't like next level stuff. This is just like open to the public, but it was awesome. Little background on all this. Gabby, have you ever wanted to do Survivor?
For many years, I wanted to do Survivor. Me and Liam, my brother, love watching Survivor. We started watching at some point, so we didn't start from the beginning. Did you start watching from the beginning?
I remember, you know, I don't know if I watched the first season, but I remember watching Kobe in the second.
I guess we should explain what Survivor is.
Well, Survivor is one of the greatest reality shows. Really the show that, like, I think started the reality show like craze years ago.
It's one of the best, for sure.
So.
And it takes a bunch of civilians out to some unknown island and drops them off, basically.
Bye-bye.
And then they need to survive. That's the idea. But they do challenges, and the idea is to outlast, outplay. I always forget outplay.
Oh, yeah, that's
probably
fair.
my fatal flaw.
That would, but I feel like you'd be a great player.
Well, that's the thing. So Liam and I started watching it. We were so into it. Followed it like play by play, and you get really into because you watch the people.
Yeah.
And they have basically there's challenges.
Yeah.
That they have physical challenges that they have to deal with. Then their everyday life is a challenge because they have to find food for themselves and shelter they have to create. You know, they kind of have to live in the world.
Yeah.
Like in the nature. And then they also have the whole social game where they have to kind of they play each other. That's the game. Yeah. Like they are the cards, you know? They are playing each other.
Thank you, ma'am.
Which is wild. And that's the part of the game that is really, I think, maybe your favorite part. Oh,
I'm so excited. Yeah. Well, I love challenges though. That's always true. I love a good competition because personally I think that's where I would thrive in a lot of ways. Because like I would love to win by power play there. But yeah, no. So so Gabby, I've wanted to do Survivor for years. I've also wanted to be on Big Brother too. But Survivor I think sounds a little bit better than Big Brother.
I don't know. I think you've wanted both, but in this moment you are applying for Survivor.
That is true. Yeah, that's very fair. Well, and there's positives and negatives, but anyway, I lost my train of thought. So here's what the process was. So like 2 weeks ago, I went with my brother-in-law, Liam, and we were able to go to this place, I forget where it was now, but we were able to go and apply in person through video, which was awesome. So we left at like 5 in the morning or so, drove like 2.5 hours to get there, and then it was me and our other friend Viet and Liam. And we got there, and we started off early in the day. And, you know, we were walking in, kind of figuring out where it was, and then there's just this massive line of people moving. And we just joined this line because we figured, oh my gosh, this got to be Survivor. We're wondering, like, only the first 300 people were guaranteed a spot to go. And then we joined in. We were, like, number 115, 114, and 116, somewhere around there. Yeah, so it was great. You know, then we had a break for a little bit. We got to Starbucks. I waited in that line longer than I was actually in the line to apply for, or, like, get my spot for Survivor. It was, like, a 30-minute wait. Then we came back and they did this casting call thing. So sat everybody down, you had to write your essay. And, ooh, Gabby, could you share my essay here?
Sure. And it was so cool because when they were there, it was like, are they really getting to audition like to a casting call for Survivor right now? We talked about this for like 10 years. They're really gonna do this. And then Adam sent me the picture of his number, like 115, and it said like Survivor, outwit, outlast, outplay. I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so real right now. Like you're there. It's so cool. And then he sent me his Survivor application, which basically, so Liam and Adam had also done the online application, and they did it's a quick video, and then they filled out information about themselves. So your demographic information, again, is on this paper application that you did when you went to the casting call. And then you went and you do a self-biography. So he shared, and you have up to 70 words. So this is what Adam chose to write on his self-biography.
I think it was a great use of every word.
To preface it, I texted you after seeing this. I said, It says everything about you and literally nothing about you.
That's fair. Yeah.
And he wrote, in one word, whimsical. By the way, he underlined whimsical. That was important, apparently.
Absolutely.
And then he said, in 66 others, I'm an all-American guy who loves one-liners, poop jokes, and games. The last incredible game I built was a life-size version of Angry Birds. I'm also a glutton for punishment. Over 1.5 years, I read the dictionary in its entirety. My verbosity and witty vernacular will inspire viewers to also read the dictionary.
Exactly.
Period.
That's all that needs to be said.
That's the end of
Period.
his whole self-biography to Survivor.
Well, because, I mean, like, my thought is, how many other times people give all their stuff, like, okay, I graduated blank blank, I did all these things.
Yeah.
Let's give you the real stuff. Like, you know, you want to talk about building, I built these weird games for youth group, inspired by games like Survivor.
True.
So, using water balloon slingshots and giant cardboard boxes, we built life-size Angry Birds. I had them play giant soccer with, like, 6-foot balls before. It's wonderful. Been training my whole life for this game, darling. I'm beyond excited about it.
Yes. So you got to do that, and then what did you do for the casting?
Oh, so, and then we just had it going, and they give you 3 minutes to just talk at a video camera.
Oh my gosh.
It was terrible. And wonderful at the same time. But I feel like half the challenge is, can you talk and, like, make coherent sentences?
Right.
I feel like that's, like, the punishment in all of this.
Right, because they don't ask you any questions.
No questions.
That's so weird.
Yeah, you know, and you just had this camera dude staring at you, and it's not actually not that bad at all, but it was like, okay, what do you say? Like, what do you want to hear in this? So, I went there and talked about my job. So I'm a youth pastor. So, like, I literally am training for games all the time. And, you know, I talked a little bit like, hey, you know, you notice kids, like, you could tell, like, hey, are you talking? What's going on? You could read the room. You know, like, the skill set is literally training you to watch body language and know when these kids are just like, okay, when are they good? When are they bad? When are they planning a silent coup against you? And you could tell, like, okay, what's going on? And they talked about moments of, like, being able to pit students against each other when it was needed, of, like, okay, I'm disciplining you, and like, you got to work this out, and now you're frustrated because the tables are turned, and then it closed talking about the dictionary. And
yes,
it was a wild ride. I really enjoyed reading it, and in one sense. In another sense, I loathed it. I actually did not like reading the dictionary at all.
Oh yeah.
But it was. I realized that was a useless task by when I got to about halfway through at N or O. But then, you know.
Why did you decide to read the dictionary again?
Dimitri Martin. There was a comedy bit online talking about how he read it, so I thought I too could read this, and it was.
How much did you read each day?
Like a page and a half.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it in the end, it was an absolute waste of my time.
And then you had to finish it.
Yeah. By the time you're halfway through, like, you got it.
You can't go to N and not finish.
No, it's true.
Did you learn a lot of new words?
No, it was too much at once. It was kind of like, could you drink anything when a fire hose is shooting at you? It's no, it got achieved very little.
Oh, that's a good line.
Yeah.
If you drink anything with a fire hose. That's a good one. I never heard that.
Really?
No, I never heard that.
Oh man, wow, we're doing all kinds of things. So, if you're going, what would your strategy be on Survivor, darling?
Man, I really just want to do well at challenges. I just would love the idea to be able to go and do challenges for a while. I think that would be so cool. And I think socially, I would probably not do well.
What? You're so lovable, though.
No, I feel like I would probably not do well because I think I would be unwilling to lie, even though I know it's a game.
Okay.
And all of that. I just think I would, because I have a big thing with, like, if you're trustworthy or not, you know?
Oh.
And so I wouldn't want to muddy myself as an untrustworthy person, even though it's a game. And I know it's a game.
And you know, everybody here is inherently, almost everybody will be untrustworthy.
I know, but there's such a thing as having a trustworthy game. It may not be a successful game, but it is a thing.
That's
People
fair.
have done it. So I think I would go in with, I would probably be too slow to choose who my alliance is.
Okay.
Because I know you need to make it super fast. And I would probably be slow. So therefore, I might miss the opportunity to make an alliance. But
I feel like you would be approached, though. That's the difference.
Well, that's the problem. I would have a lot of trouble with that, too. Because I feel like if I was approached by someone I don't trust, I don't know what I would do because I would want to say no. Like, but what the good strategy is, you're supposed to say yes, and then you really just make your real alliance with someone else.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But, like, if I was approached by, like, the person I like least in the group, which could easily happen, and they say, yeah, let's make an alliance, and I would be like, yeah, no, let's just be real, we're not going to make an alliance. But that's a terrible strategy. You can't do that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Well, yeah, it doesn't usually behoove you.
Oh, yeah, you can't really do that. So, I don't know. The social game, I'd probably kill myself on it.
But you're so lovable. That's the difference, though.
No, there's lovable or hateable, and I think I would be both.
You would not be.
For that reason. What would be your strategy?
I think it would be winning.
I know you've thought this out way more than I have.
No, well, a little in some ways,
Yeah.
but I would definitely want to win challenges.
Okay.
But I feel like that's kind of obvious in a lot of ways.
I know everybody wants to win challenges, unless you're like a crazy person.
Well, unless you're trying to say like you're positioning yourself as a non-threat.
Right. No, I wouldn't want to do that.
No, I feel like I
would want people to know that I'm fit.
Yeah. You don't have to win all of them, maybe, but like you don't want to be like looked at as the pathetic person in the group because as Survivor at the end, you do tend to win more by merit than like just floating your way there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a heavy respect for gameplay in that.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely want to be. I feel like the advantage I have is I would try to kind of not float under the radar in some ways, but like I'm not always an obvious threat in terms of like loud commanding personality. Like I'm goofy and I'm whimsical, but I would be very much the sense of like not trying to control people in an outright way.
So
like,
you would not try to be a leader? I
would be a leader, but not in the assigning duties sense.
Okay.
I think I would be a counterpoint leader that would grow in contrast to somebody else.
Okay.
Because there's always like you assign somebody to build, like cook or like control that area.
Yeah.
Like trying to lead that's a terrible area because people will always be hungry and feel chipped. Or like building the hut. Like there are certain areas like even though that could be a valuable resource, nobody wants to be the person giving orders on day one.
Oof.
And somebody will be, and they're going to be disliked for that because they're going
to hate because you need someone to hate at that point.
Yeah.
In the early days.
Absolutely. But instead, I would try to be focusing on like, okay, how could I be like the positive on the opposite side of that to rally on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be my area, and I've been told before from a friend Ted, who I no longer see or talk to or really chill with, that my greatest weapon is my adorableness. So I would attempt that. That would be my strength.
You are extremely adorable. I think that would help a lot.
No,
old ladies like you.
I mean, hey.
The older ladies, rather.
Hey, what can I say?
I think they would want. Who do you think would want you as your ally, right? Because you always in Survivor, you've got the older gentlemen, older women, younger girls, younger men, basically.
I think I'd be with the oldies.
Yeah, I think the oldies would like you.
Yeah, I think I would
They would pick you up.
Yeah, but I think that's good. I like older. I feel like there's a lot of strength with the elderly.
With the older allies.
Yeah. I feel like there's a smidge more dependent. Like I feel like we would fit in a little bit better in terms of this.
Nice.
Which is good because there's I've talked before about old people's strength.
Yeah.
Like they are just workaholics, which is wonderful. So I know we've talked. We each have some fears if I get on.
Oh, of course.
What would be your thoughts? What would be the nerves?
Primarily is, of course, like disease or
That's fair.
Injury to body.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a process for recovery, but I don't totally understand it.
Sure.
And I mean, you're saying it's, you're going in knowing your body's going to get wrecked.
Yeah, you're not going to be the same person.
No, and I'm not going to, no offense to the people who have been on Survivor, but, even though they look like withered by the end of the season, they look pretty good in some ways sometimes because they've like lost weight or they're stronger or something, even though they're like too thin.
Yeah.
But then you flip it and they come back to the last, on stage time.
Yeah.
And they all look bloated.
Okay, yeah,
I feel
can
like
totally
it's
see
so
that.
rare that they actually look good. So it makes me think like their weight swings.
Yeah.
It's really hard to gain it back in a normal, good way.
Yeah, you're probably like, you just want to feast.
I don't know. So that part, I worry about the physical effect. And then I don't worry about this honestly much for you.
Yeah.
This is more for my brother, but I worry that they would villainize him.
Yeah.
Because Liam would be super easy to villainize.
Oh, which is unfair because Liam is an incredible guy. He's just a great gamer though.
He's very serious.
Yeah.
He's wonderful, but he's very, very serious, and he's very intense, and you can villainize someone. You can swing that.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how they could possibly villainize you.
Good camera angles.
I'm not super worried about it. But I guess it's a thought. Like,
Yeah,
that would be,
it's totally reasonable.
I wouldn't want you to be villainized because, you know, I'd be like, oh no! But it's a risk you take. And you're willing to take it.
You gotta play the game. You gotta play the game.
Yeah, so I guess that one, but I'm honestly not worried about that much for you. They'd have to do some serious magic, I think, to play that. But, I mean, whatever, they could do it, I'm sure. They're talented. Yeah, what about you?
I think, you know, honestly, I think it would be probably giving up caffeine.
Oh my gosh.
That sounds weird, but like, I love coffee. I drink like maybe 6 or 7 cups a day. I've had 3 already today, and it's, what is it? Oh, actually, it's a little late in the day already.
That's a lot of cups of coffee for one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
half a day.
That would be it. Then I did come up with, I was talking to our friend Nate.
Yeah.
Our trainer Nate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked him yesterday what he thought would be the best way for like weight and physical fitness, and one was putting on a ton of weight.
Right, before
that was, but the other, and he liked this idea, and he would agree with it. I would start starving myself before I left. Like cut back maybe like say 2,000 is the average. Go to 1,500. Go to 1,500 now.
Yeah.
That and cut to 1,500 calories and get your body used to operating on less. So that way, when you're there, you're already used to what's going on. Like,
but how are you gonna do? Those are two seemingly opposite things, right?
No, it was like either or.
Oh, okay.
So, but then, so then get yourself used to operating on less, so that way you don't undergo painful challenges there.
Oof.
But the other.
But then when you lose weight, you have that much more weight, like less room for loss.
True, but you're already used to operating on a lower level. So the idea would be that way you're like, even though you're
creating a new homeostasis for your body.
Yeah, your body's already adjusted, so you'll feel stronger in there. And then like the 2 days beforehand, so say you're already a little heavier, like gaining on. Now your body needs that much, so you're already prepping yourself to lose weight in a sense. Like your body's already suffering because it is. The 2 days before, if you already say like I dropped like 10 pounds or 15 pounds in this process.
Yeah.
Okay, all of a sudden the 2 days before, then you binge because it's like you're loading up. So now your body's actually more powered rather than maintaining it for the first few days at least.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It would be smart to talk to a nutritionist before going.
Yeah, I think I couldn't agree more.
Or whatever, someone with that background, that would be very smart.
I'd have to talk to Danielle too.
Oh my goodness, so fun.
But yeah, that's a Survivor. So CBS, if you're, or is it CBS? Oh my gosh, I always forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, CBS. CBS, if you're listening, send me to Survivor. Any other thoughts, Darla?
No, it would be quite an adventure. It would be pretty amazing if you guys got to go.
It would be awesome.
It would be so fun.
All right, well, cool. Thanks for listening to How Do You Say Yaros? And if you've got questions, feel free to email us at howdoyousayyaros@gmail.com. And please don't forget to review us on whatever social media platform you're listening to. Thanks,
or send advice for how Adam can get on Survivor.
Yes.
A stowaway.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.